Welcome students, again Tom Harmer here, your accounting professor, and this is going to be a demonstration of how to write checks in QuickBooks. Now there's two ways to write checks in QuickBooks. One of them is for paying bills that have already been incurred. We've purchased something on account, and so we have an accounts payable with some vendor that we have to pay. That's one way. And the other way is where we're just cutting a check on the fly. And these are all manual checks. Now QuickBooks is quite well set up to write checks, to print checks, and it's always asking whether you want to do that. But we're not. Our project is all these checks have already been written. So there you go. We shall go into this demonstration. Now here we are in the QuickBooks homepage, but before we proceed, let's go over to Canvas and grab that PDF that we have instructing us how to in writing with screenshots. So I've got here, I went to Files, and I come up here to our QuickBooks Sullivan project, come down here to QuickBooks Instructions for Writing Checks. Click on that. So here's our instructions with PDFs, and here we go with our first demonstration, which will be just writing a check on the fly. Okay, so we're going to click on the plus sign and then get to this detailed menu and select down here check. Okay, I've alt-tabbed back into our QuickBooks homepage. I go up and I click the plus sign and my detail menu shows up, and I'm going here to check right here. So I'm going to click on check, and then we end up in our check writing menu. So the first thing we're going to do is select our vendor name. Now if you don't have a vendor name yet, you can create one on the fly, and I'll demonstrate that one right now. So I've entered the name of this payee, but we've never had him before, so it's new. So it says here add. I click the add, and there it comes up with the name I just typed in, and I can select whether this is a vendor, a customer, or an employee, and it's a vendor. And then I save it, and I've just created this vendor on the fly. So it defaults to our checking account there, which is what we want. Shows me my balance. Comes down, I can enter an address if I want. Then it wants my date. So I'm going to make this date 11/01/13. This is not in the same date range as your Sullivan project. Then I've got the check number there. I'll take the 118. So always be sure you verify you've got the correct check number as you enter these. And then tab. I'm not going to click print later. I'm just going to go right down here to the account. So now it wants to know the account we are debiting. Of course, we're issuing a check, so it's defaulting to crediting cash, our checking account up there. But what account are we going to debit? And this is going to be prepaid rent. So I entered that, and I've already got that account set up, so I can select that. And I'm going to go 4 months rent prepaid. Okay, tab, and then the amount would be $4,000. Okay, so that's $1,000 a month. Then our next line, it's asking if we have another item to debit, but we don't. So we're ready to proceed and save and move on to the next check. So, but before we do this memo field down here, I'm saying do not use this memo field. Just use the description field up here. So let's move on to our next check. Come down here, save and new. So that would save that check, and it would notice here that the check number has ratcheted up to 119. If you're doing a sequence of checks, that works good. But if you're doing them randomly, you need to keep an eye on what that check number is that you're booking that to. You can always come back and edit it so it's not serious. That is a demonstration of how to enter a previously written check. There was a check written on the fly and not a payment on any outstanding accounts payable. Let's go to the accounts payable demonstration. We exit out of this screen. I go to the upper right and I just click X, and we'll come back to our main menu. Hit the check mark at the top center, and we come down to pay bills. Okay, this is going to be another check creation, but it is set up here where we are writing checks on outstanding accounts payable. So I'm going to click here, show all bills. So we have a list of all of our outstanding accounts payable invoices here for various vendors. We've got several to Office Max, so we're going to make a demonstration of paying several of our Office Max invoices, and we're paying them to Office Max. Okay, so I click on the ones we're going to pay. We're going to pay this guy in full, that's $500, and we're going to pay $100 on this invoice here. So a partial payment, just as an example. So our check's going to be for $600, and there you go. We come down here and we verify the date that we've written the check. So we're writing this check on 11/24/13 in this example, and it's a handwritten check. We're not going to be printing it later. It's a handwritten check. We've got that box checked, and then we click on Pay Bill. We've entered a check that was to an accounts payable transaction. Okay, now that you're done entering all your checks, it's time to produce your check report and memorize it. So we go from here directly over to reports. We click on all reports and scroll down to review expenses and purchases. By the way, if we come back over to our Word document, over here I've got the instructions on the last page of now it's time to produce your check register report and memorize it. There's your instructions there. So we come back here and then we select the check detail, and it comes up with a check detail report, but then you need to set your date range for June 1st through June 30th, 2012. My demonstration here is November 1st, 2013 to November 30th, and I can go ahead and pull that down and go right to it and then run report. After you've run it, you want to come up and save it. Okay, and this is going to be check detail space dash space June. Okay, so now it's saved into our memorized report list. Then you can print it if you're printing your reports, or email it when you do your submissions. Thank you very much. That's your demonstration of writing checks.